In this video, I want to deepen you in the world of watercolorists. I have created Watercolorist Bingo. If you want to post Bingo in your social media, in caption there will be this file that you can use. And now I just want to comment all the points that creates the world of watercolorist, and I think natural for every watercolorist to be in the situation that I will talk about. So, to light after drying, it's a common process of watercolor that it tends to lighten after drying, and you think that you made this gorgeous wash, and then it dries and it begins to light, and you're forced to make one more layer to get the tone you needed. Accidentally splash the sky. It's my favorite because splashing, when you splash the paint, it's very uncontrollable process. And when I teach watercolor, I recommend to cover the sky with some unused paper to prevent the splashes, but frankly I'm doing it not all the time, and it happens the sky could be covered with the splashes, so it just happens with every watercolorist. There are many opinions about the dirt in the watercolor because different people mean different things after dirt in watercolor, but if the colors look dirty, this brownish, greenish, it's uncomfortable mix of the colors that create together the feeling of the dirt. On the edit, I will show you the painting that is really dirty. That's what I mean with the term of the dirt in watercolor. A mix of more than 5 pigments. There is opinion that if you use monopigmented paints, the less variation to get the dirt and the mixes look more clean and more natural. Some watercolor think that a mix of more than 5 pigments could give you dirt, and it could happen, but not necessarily. I have successfully mixed more than 5 pigments, multi-pigment paints, and everything was okay. The tape injured the paper while removing. It depends on the paper, it depends on the tape that you are using, but sometimes it could happen that the tape really injures the paper, and you can prevent it by using the hairdryer while removing of the tape, because this glue that is on the other side of the tape tends to soften. So when using hairdryer, usually tape removes without any injury of the paint, but I think this point happens to everyone that paints with watercolor. Granulation. I have a dot card of Schmincke super granulating paints, but generally granulation in watercolor became really popular I think 3 or 4 years ago, and it's widely used to create textures. If you are interested to know more about granulation, feel free to check the caption. I will place here the links to my open lectures dedicated to granulation in watercolor. Kolinsky brush. Kolinsky is thought to be one of the most effective hair for the watercolor brushes. So here I have placed Kolinsky brushes. It's imitation. Why it's imitation? Because Kolinsky is pricey. Natural Kolinsky brush could cost like really a lot. So Da Vinci made this imitation of the Kolinsky, and I use it like all the time. It's really good. But Kolinsky brush is thought to be the most effective hair for the watercolorist because it has the properties of the squirrel, so ability to absorb water, and also it has a very sharp tip and controllable hair to opaque. Again, the point that familiar to every watercolorist, because when you're using a layer, and watercolor is loved because it's transparent and it allows paper to shine, and when the wash is too opaque, it could happen because of the whites in the paint, or it could happen because you have too many layers or do deep paint, so it can happen to everyone. Using whites. there are true, real watercolorists that said that whites are forbidden in watercolor and no any true watercolorists use whites. I think it's bullshit, and whites could be used, and whites are useful, and whites are convenient, and in some cases, of course, we need whites. 10 layers. I think it also happened any watercolorist because 10 layers, even 20 layers, useful when we're talking about botanical illustration, but it happens such way that you paint, you add more layer, and it's not enough. The paper dried wavy. It also depends on the paper. The paper becomes dry when you have too much water or too thin paper. So it could be solved with two different methods. The first is using more thick paper. So the standard for the watercolor painting is 300 grams. There are even more thick papers. For example, I have painted 640 grams and it's like a cardboard. It's very thick and it doesn't dry wavy because it's thick. And the other way is to place the masking tape. It doesn't prevent, but it makes the paper dry and more even. If you look at this sheet that I am showing you, it's a paper for watercolor, but it is 180 grams, and I have applied this paint. By the way, it's a Galaxy Vibe. I have applied this paint. The paper have dried a little wavy. Next point, everything spills out. What loves water, and it could happen that everything spilled out because it was too much water. Of course, it's a controllable process, but not totally. So every watercolorist this situation when everything spills out and you just need patience and a kind of understanding, because watercolor loves water, but the side effect of the water is that everything could be spilled out. Because I live in Germany, so is the big three of German manufacturers. So Schmincke produces paints, Vinci produces brushes, and Hahnemühle produces paper. I'm brand ambassador of Schmincke and Vinci, and these big three of art materials manufacturers are common to every watercolorist, not also in Germany, but all over the world. Dipped a brush in the tea instead of can of water. Okay, so here I have coffee, and when I paint, I place my coffee mug somewhere else because it could happen that instead of water, you dip your brush in the can for the tea. And that's why also I have the drinking water in this mug, and I have this cap, and this cap prevents me from dipping the brush into it because I drink from this mug. So but this situation is like really common. Next, using hairdryer. I know that many watercolorists, including me, are using hairdryer for drying the paper. I have even my hairdryer for the watercolor, so it lives on my working desk, and I use hairdryer like all the time because sometimes I don't want to wait. Sometimes I don't have enough time to wait till my wash dries. And some techniques could be done only on the dry paper. Dry too quickly. I'm sure that everyone was in this situation because in watercolor much depends on the water and the density of the paper and the water inside the paper. The paper dries different ways. It depends on the heating, it depends on the humidity, it depends on the paper, it depends on many factors. This situation when the paper dries too quickly is common. More than 20 brushes. Oh, that are not all the brushes that I have. It's only my working brushes, but I think that here are more than 20. But yes, we artists love to buy art materials. I think that many watercolorists have more than 20 brushes. Large format. That is the only point that I'm not sure about every watercolorist was or not, but I decided to include it in the list. Why? Because large format in watercolor is very difficult technically, because in watercolor everything depends on the water inside the sheet, and when you have large format, paper dries too quickly, and there are many things that you should keep in mind when you're painting on the large format. I think that large format, for me, it's a standard watercolor sheet, 56 on 76 in centimeters. I think this is a large format. Some watercolorists think that large format is half sheet, 38 to 56. But anyway, when you are painting a large format, it gives you extra challenge, and there are many things that you should for painting on large format. I'll buy only one tube, that's it. I cannot comment it, but I think that every artist went to the art shop to buy only one tube, and then after an hour he got out of this art shop with the tons of materials and extra, and his intention was to buy only one tube, and that's all. And the last but not least is Fabriano in Acquarello. Fabriano is a small town in Italy, and here every year is held biggest watercolor festival in the world. It's called Fabriano in Acquarello. There are delegations of the countries that present watercolor works of the people living in this country, and I think that if you paint with watercolor, you have heard about this Fabriano and Acquarello. Maybe your painting was in that delegation, maybe you were in Fabriano. So anyway, it's a huge event in a world of watercolor. So I have commented all the points. I hope you like this video, and I think you have found yourself in this situation. If you want, you can check this bingo. The file will be in caption, and place it in your social media, and please caption my account is Roberta. And of course, if you have ideas about a situation that could happen with watercolorists and that could form one more cells of the bingo, please feel free to write them. I think we will all have fun